Imagine standing at the edge of history, where the past and the future seem to meet. The world is changing before your eyes, and you sense that something monumental is unfolding. You watch as a new power rises, one so dominant, so relentless, it seems almost unstoppable, reshaping the world as it grows. This was the world of Polybius, a Greek historian who dared to ask not just what happened but why it happened and what it meant for the future. Polybius witnessed Rome's meteoric rise firsthand and set out to uncover the hidden engine behind its extraordinary success. His masterpiece, The Histories, is more than a simple chronicle of events. It's a deep investigation into how and why nations rise and fall, and what lessons can be drawn from their stories. He believed Rome's dominance wasn't just luck or fate, but the result of its unique political institutions, strict military discipline, and the character of its people. Polybius wanted history to be useful, a practical guide for future leaders and citizens, not just a collection of entertaining stories or legends. His own life was as dramatic as his analysis. A Greek statesman and cavalry commander, captured and taken hostage by Rome, thrust into the very heart of the empire he once opposed. This gave him a unique perspective, an outsider with rare insider access, able to observe Rome's inner workings with a critical eye. He walked the corridors of Roman power, befriended influential generals, and witnessed firsthand the debates, ambitions, and decisions that shaped the Republic's destiny. Polybius championed evidence, first-hand accounts, and critical analysis, creating a new model for historical writing that valued truth over myth. In many ways, he was the world's first political scientist. His questions about power, decline, and the cycles of history still resonate today, reminding us that the past is a guide to the future. To truly understand Polybius, we must first immerse ourselves in his world, a Mediterranean alive with rival empires, shifting alliances, and the constant threat of war. This was an era where the fate of entire civilizations hung in the balance, and every decision could tip the scales of history. The Hellenistic kingdoms of the East, heirs to Alexander the Great's legacy, and Carthage in North Africa, with its rich trading networks, had dominated the region for centuries, shaping the political and cultural landscape of the ancient world. Greece, though no longer the mighty force it once was, still stood as a beacon of culture, philosophy, and intrigue, its city-states weaving a complex web of alliances and rivalries. Carthage, wealthy and powerful, was Rome's greatest rival. Its navy was legendary, its ambitions vast, and its influence stretched across the western Mediterranean, making it a formidable opponent. Hannibal, Carthage's most famous and daring general, was preparing his audacious march over the Alps, a feat that would shock the world and bring the fight directly to Rome's doorstep. Meanwhile, the Greek city-states, including Polybius's own Achaean League, struggled to maintain their independence and identity, caught between the ambitions of larger powers and the constant threat of invasion. Rome, once a regional power among many, had united Italy through discipline, military prowess, and political innovation, absorbing defeated peoples and building a vast reservoir of manpower that would fuel its expansion. As Rome's ambitions grew, it inevitably clashed with Carthage and began to intervene in the affairs of Greece, setting the stage for a series of epic conflicts that would reshape the Mediterranean. The old powers, once unchallenged, were about to face a new, relentless force that would alter the course of history forever. Polybius lived at the crossroads of these titanic struggles, witnessing firsthand the rise and fall of empires. His world, once defined by the balance of old powers, was about to be transformed forever by the unstoppable momentum of Rome. Polybius began as a statesman and cavalry commander in the Achaean League, following in his father's footsteps. After Rome's crushing victory at Pydna, Greek independence ended, and Polybius was taken hostage, one of 1,000 Greek elites sent to Italy. For most, exile meant obscurity, but Polybius's fate was different. He was placed in the household of Lucius Aemilius Paulus, the Roman general who defeated Macedon, and became mentor to Paulus's sons, including the future Scipio Africanus the Younger. This connection gave Polybius access to Rome's inner circle. No longer just a hostage, he became a trusted advisor and observer. He spent 17 years in Rome, learning Latin, studying archives, and traveling with Scipio on military campaigns. He witnessed the destruction of Carthage firsthand. Polybius's exile became the foundation for his life's work, explaining Rome's rise to the world. His personal loss became history's gain. Polybius's time in Rome transformed him from participant to eyewitness historian. His friendship with Scipio Aemilianus opened doors to the heart of Roman power. He stood beside Scipio as Carthage burned, reflecting on the fate of empires. Polybius's access allowed him to interview senators, generals, and soldiers, and to study the Republic's constitution up close. He observed the discipline and organization of the Roman army, noting how their standardized camps and citizen soldiers created an unstoppable force. His travels gave him a universal perspective. He saw the politics of Greece, the might of Rome, and the realities of war. Polybius's writing is immediate and authoritative, drawn from what he saw and heard himself. He was the ultimate embedded journalist, chronicling the making of an empire. Polybius set out to transform history from entertainment into a rigorous discipline. He rejected invented speeches and divine interventions, insisting on truth and evidence. His method was revolutionary: study sources, gain practical experience, and visit the actual sites of events. For example, he retraced Hannibal's route over the Alps to understand the real challenges faced. Polybius focused on causality. He wanted to know not just what happened, but why. He distinguished between the pretext and true causes of wars, digging beneath the surface for deeper motivations. His analysis extended to the psychology of leaders, presenting them as complex, flawed humans rather than heroes or villains. Polybius believed history was practical philosophy, a guide for leaders and citizens. He offered lessons in leadership, decision-making, and the consequences of character. For Polybius, history was about understanding the real forces that shape events. His approach set a new standard for historical inquiry. Polybius's most famous idea is Anacyclosis, the cycle of political evolution. He argued that governments, like living things, pass through predictable stages: monarchy, tyranny, aristocracy, oligarchy, democracy, and mob rule. Each form decays into its corrupt version, prompting revolution and a new cycle. Monarchy becomes tyranny. Tyranny is overthrown by aristocracy. Aristocracy decays into oligarchy. Oligarchy falls to democracy. Democracy degenerates into mob rule, which leads back to monarchy. This cycle, he believed, was driven by human nature and the flaws of each system. No simple form of government could escape it. Polybius saw this cycle as a warning. Unchecked power, whether in one, few, or many, always leads to decline. The only hope was to find a system that balanced these elements. His theory remains a powerful lens for understanding political change. For Polybius, history's cycles were both a lesson and a caution. Polybius believed Rome broke the cycle with its mixed constitution. The consuls represented monarchy, the Senate aristocracy, and the assembly's democracy, each checking the others. This balance, he argued, was the secret of Rome's stability and power. His analysis influenced Roman thinkers like Cicero, who praised the mixed constitution as the ideal government. Polybius's ideas survived through Cicero and later inspired Renaissance and Enlightenment thinkers. Machiavelli and Montesquieu both drew on his work to understand how to build lasting states. The American founders, Madison, Adams, Hamilton, looked to Polybius's model when designing the U.S. Constitution. The President, Senate, and House echo Rome's structure, aiming for the same balance of power. Polybius's vision shaped the foundations of modern democracy. His legacy endures in every system that seeks to balance liberty and order. More than 2,000 years later, Polybius's questions still matter, echoing through the centuries and resonating with the challenges we face today. Why do some nations rise while others fall? What hidden forces shape the destinies of entire civilizations? And what lessons can we draw from their triumphs and failures? Can republics endure, or are they doomed to decay and collapse under the weight of their own ambitions and mistakes? Polybius reminds us that history is not just a record of the past, but a powerful tool, a source of practical wisdom for citizens and leaders alike, offering guidance for the present and future. By studying the past, we can recognize the early signs of decline, the dangers of unchecked power, and the patterns that repeat across generations. His theory of Anacyclosis warns us to guard against corruption, complacency, and the rise of demagogues who exploit fear and division. Polybius's insistence on truth and critical analysis is more vital than ever in our age of misinformation. where facts are often twisted and history is sometimes forgotten. He teaches us to question sources, seek evidence, and confront uncomfortable truths, encouraging us to think deeply and challenge easy answers. His legacy is a challenge to examine our own institutions and choices with the same rigor and honesty he brought to his study of Rome and Greece. History for Polybius was not prophecy, but a guide to responsible action, a map for navigating the uncertainties of our own time. The fate of nations, he believed, is shaped not by destiny or fate, but by the decisions, actions, and vigilance of their people, yesterday, today, and always.